Okay, it is Sherry St. Marie, and we are live. And I love live, but I also love the recording. And so, if you're joining me live, hello. And this is going to be a spicy, different one because you will see a little different side of myself, but that's also fun, right? And then the recording I love as an educator, right? Because it goes out to YouTube. It'll stay on LinkedIn, but easiest to find over on YouTube under Sherry St. Marie. Everything I got out there on social media is under Sherry St. Marie, except for TikTok. TikTok, I was a smart aleck and did official Sherry St. Marie. Here's what we're going to do today. So I am Sherry St. Marie. Those of you who don't know me, I'll just do a quick one. I am a personal development educator, right? I am a real estate broker. I'm a consultant. I'm a speaker. I am a broadcaster. I'm an on-air talent. I do lots of things. Today, I want to do something that is for every single human out there in every single role you are in. And you will see some of my passion, both bitey and soft. The passion that gets down inside my belly. Here's why. I want to point out something to you. So my intelligence is a little bit different, right? I come off on all different shades, right? Anybody who knows me knows my real deal is like I can do barefoot to boots to heels, right? That's me. So this is the deal when it comes to this. I am today mostly going to focus on my educator piece, my mom and my gut piece, and my society piece. And it is not just social media. So don't tune me out. And it is not just women. Let me tell you, I know so many stories from men. Here's what I want to point out. So this is my first piece. This is the aha for everybody, for you, your individual self, for you, the manager or business owner, for you, the parent, for you, the grandparent, for you, the person that is having anything to do with anybody in society, where you might have a little bit of influence because they choose, not because they have to, right? But this is it. So sorry, I'm turning my phone off so it won't go off during our broadcast. This is it. Watch this. Like the biggest, I want to catch 3 things today, but this is my first biggest one. I'm usually all about trying to change society, right? Trying to help society evolve. That's really where my original overall arching passion is. However, sometimes we have to get to a place where we're wise watching society. Wise watching society. It doesn't mean we like it. It doesn't mean it makes us happy. I refuse to give in to the disgusting. Refuse. However, we can see in this last little over a year, we tried to change society, right? We've been trying to change society for a really long time. Before it used to go, a little bit better. And let me tell you, huge caveat, it depends on how we're doing it, how we're trying to do it. We can see in the last year and a half, parts of it have gone severely badly and had the opposite effect, right? This new hater culture is not new. Like people who think hater culture is new, it is not. Hater culture has been around since there were people, right? Like cavemen used to beat women and drag them back to the cave. Like that's, hello, like hater culture has been around forever. However, sadly, we have not been so much in our culture that we are purely across the board. I do not care what gender you are, what age you are, what nationality you are, what is your political views, what is your educational views, what is your integrity views. All of it is under hater attack at this time. And I have fought really hard to completely reject that. Like I cannot accept that in every visceral thing about myself. Like I cannot accept it, right? It's also why I'm still out here being a light, even though it has really gotten interesting. Okay, so that's where I have been, all this stuff and whatever. And it can take out a lot on you, let me tell you, right? And it never should be that way, correct? No one should be treated that way. However, here's the big awareness again for managers and employees and people who are in relationships and all of us. Our hater culture has become so mass, meaning that it's sadly acceptable because people will say, they don't like it, but this is what they'll say. That's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. No. And so when you can't change society because the snowball has gotten so huge that it's out of control, what we have to do is a huge educator comment, is flip it to teaching every single soul, brand new babies born, employees again, every role, male and female, all genders, right? Is to be grounded in yourself. It used to be self-esteem was a big deal, right? And we understand that self-esteem has been so massively eroded that people are committing suicide. That is not okay. And people who say, oh, well, they just need to be stronger and that's not what happened. Bull crap. I can give you tons of statistics and it makes me wild about absolutely someone can bully somebody into death. We have tons of example of that in history. Tons. And it is not okay. So what we can do is, instead of trying to fix society, which yes, we need to still keep trying, right? So I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the big aha is flip it to be teaching every soul to practice daily, to be grounded in who they are. That is the way we will be okay. Because again, the greatest thing they would like to do is to get you to not be grounded in yourself. That's the goal, sadly. So I want to explain to you a couple things before I move into how to be grounded. And again, I've been at this a long time and it's interesting. It's not just social media, and I'm going to get into that part too. But the part about the whole goal of anybody, whether they are at the grocery store, in the car next to you, on social media, in a work power dynamic, the whole goal is to shut you down. Shut you down. And so your job is to be incredibly grounded in who you are as a human being. Even if you're not completely happy with yourself, we all have that, places to work, right? But we have to get to this place where we are able to go out in the world. And I do not mean this. Here's another huge aha. I do not mean from a protected stance. This is what we used to do. And I did it because I had to do it, right? Like everybody knows my background of that's what we were taught to do, right? Defensive stance, snap your ass. Like that's what's going to happen, right? That's not healthy and that's not grounding. That's defensive and reacting, right? Grounding is when we do this and we go, you don't even have to say it. So I'm going to teach you some things that you say straight up, and I'm going to teach you some things where you don't say anything. The most powerful thing can be to yourself, you are saying, I see you. Meaning, I see your behavior. I see what's going on. I'm smart enough. I know a lot of things. And so I'm going to teach general society something right now. Every piece of hater culture is projection. Look up projection if you don't know what that is. What that really is, and you can go get a detailed thing. I'm always going to be a teacher where I'm just going to make you think. I'm not going to give you all the details. Always been this way. Hater culture is about projection. It's always projection. Okay? So what it means is the person making the comment is having an emotional tantrum on you. That's really what that is. It is how they are feeling, and they are feeling threatened, whether that is they're jealous, or a lot of other times it is really, I need to rip you down because of how I feel about myself. That is a huge light bulb for you that everybody across the board needs to understand. I need to rip you down because of how I physically feel. And I can do that anonymously, meaning I am in the car next to you, going off, or even trying to push you off the road. Hello. Or I can do that on the backside of social, or I can do that sort of subtly or not sort of subtly in gender roles, in particular women being on social media, and I will get into that. That is what is going on. And so the awareness in your success tool about grounding has to be, if the person does not have genuine concern for you, do not take the feedback too seriously, and always consider the source. Even little kids, we need to teach that, right? So if somebody is not nice to us, we used to teach, well, okay, maybe they're having a bad day, or maybe you need to be nicer, or Well, we need to teach our children, which can also be adults, right? Take a look at yourself. Were you okay with the way you interacted in that situation? Are you okay with yourself? Did you need to learn anything? Is the source good and healthy for you? Meaning wanting to do well and whatever. If so, maybe take a look at that. If not, I'm going to say right here. That's what we need to be able to do. And why we need to be able to get to this grounding as the number one success tool. And I mean grounding even within a company. So watch this. There are companies that are incredibly good at being grounded. Why everybody's in this hater culture. Watch me explain this to you. A company that is grounded in themselves as a company and their brand and who they are. I could care less if I lose users. I could care less if I lose your money, because you are not for me. Not a problem. I'm not going to have the culture within my life and my brand and the work that I do and my family. Period. No problem. That's a healthy, grounded company. Period. Okay. And that is something to look at. So grounding is not just in the individual. The grounding can be within your company and within what you are doing. And again, it doesn't have to be this snappy, like you'll hear some of my voice where I'll crack up today of like, because the other day I was in the place that I certainly have gotten to the place where I can laugh about a lot of it, particularly if you happen to be in a spot where you get a ton of it coming at you like a fire hose. That can happen, just even being yourself in a day and all those kind of things. But there's another piece of it, right, that can get really frustrating. And so the part of learning how to be incredibly grounded as a success tool is this. I'm allowed to be myself in all ranges of it. And the last thing I'm telling anybody, if you watch my stuff, is that you need to be loud, that you need to be outrageous, that you need to be as physically active and out there as I do. That's just me. If you are calm and quiet and logical and all of that, that is your beautiful soul and experience here. You need to be grounded in that, right? Here's the thing I'm going to explain to you from a teacher perspective that has always been my deal, and I'm still that way no matter what kind of work I'm doing. You, I don't mean so you personally, I mean you, the person not behaving well. You have a right to learn. More importantly, you have a right not to learn. Even at work, you have a right not to learn. Watch this. But you do not have a right to not allow other people to learn. So let me explain this to you. If you are in my classroom, whether that's social media or I'm at a speaking situation or live or whatever, you have a right to be here and learn if you want to. You, if you are in my paid classroom, have a right not to learn, but you do not have a right to not let anyone else not learn, including myself. So if you're going to put me in a position as the talent expert in any situation, whether that's me as a real estate broker, I don't care where I work, I will fire you because I'm not going to put up with it. So you have a right not to learn, but you do not have a right to allow somebody else not to learn. You can tweak that comment into management, right? So at work, you have a right to not learn here if you would like to. You do not have a right to stay here and disrupt other employees, or you to not learn yourself. If you would like to not learn at work, we will say, thank you very much. There is the door. That's part of just being grounded. That is our right. That does not need to be loud and angry or whatever. It can be this, just a beautiful stance of, I want to point that out today. So being grounded is a lot of different things. Society has learned grounded just means being angry, right? I put a post out the other day and people didn't understand it. That's why I wait to do it in my life. People used to always tell me, you've got to be angry to fight back. That was my generation, just taught, particularly as females. You have to get angry to fight back. That is not true. That is not true. I also don't have to punish you in silence to teach you. I can be grounded incredibly in myself, and I can choose sometimes to say something, and I can choose other times not to say something. I can choose to remove myself. I can choose to have boundaries. I can choose the volume and kind of what I want to do. A lot of people would argue in this learning to be grounded in yourself as a success tool. Oh, people don't know how to handle conflict anymore. Watch the success tool. When I'm incredibly grounded in myself, I am not going to choose to be in conflict that is really a toxic dynamic connection. Let me explain this to you. A toxic dynamic connection happens in personal life, at work, with children, with parents, with all. There are people that have learned to be this way because they want to have a connection with somebody. They don't know how to get it in a healthy manner. And so they will do whatever they need to do in order to have this dynamic connection, which is actually toxic. And if you are really grounded in yourself, you get to decide. So here's an example. I'll give you a couple concrete examples. So you know what I'm talking about. I had somebody in my past a couple of years ago who said to me, she just really wanted to argue, right? And she wanted to argue about politics. And I am calm and quiet, and I'm just sitting there because I don't care. I'm not going to argue politics with you. I'm just not going to. And there's other subjects I'm just not going to argue with you about it. She clearly had this wanting of this dynamic connection, right? And I'm not talking about in the past. Yes, we could talk about things and have it be healthy. And I need to understand your position and my position. There's no problem with that. She very clearly wanted to just go at it, right? And I'm incredibly intelligent, actually. And so I sat calm, and she got ramped up and ramped up and ramped up and ramped up. And I'm just listening, right? Because I'm listening to her. Like, she has a right to her opinion, right? And I would not engage with her that way. And she said, I'm so sick of people not being able to have a conversation and have this. And it's not conflict, it's whatever. It would not have been conflict if she had a sincere interest in not just in a viscerally angry way, pointing out her stance, and also even checking in once with what did I think. That's how you can tell, okay? You can also tell things that are dynamic and conflict, because it's hater culture, right? Where people aren't sincerely looking for the best outcome. And I don't mean we all have to be people pleasers, believe me. Like, I've learned so much from people that don't have the same attitude as me, just a ton. It's why I have all my friends that are all ages, all subjects, all kinds. And I get challenged, right? I will also take the easy button anytime you can give it to me, right? And so when we are aware that our number one success tool right now is to flip it from being trying to change society, because we will change society by our own behavior, right? We will change society by our own integrity. We will change society by our own values. We can work on our own individual control, and whomever might choose to want to be influenced by us. We are not able to, in a free society, make anybody do anything. I don't even care if it's your kids and you're trying to control their dollars. Like, they can still make a choice, right? And so we have to learn a different way to function in our society. And we need to be able to not just let it roll off our back. It becomes incredibly intellectually interesting when you can see somebody's actual behavior the minute they're doing it, where you go, that's good, right? So I'm going to explain something to you just before we move into these pieces, because I get a lot of this, right? I get an absolute ton of people coming at me. And I did even way back when I was teaching in the classroom. I get it in real estate. I get it certainly on social media. where people are just coming at you, right, to try to take you down because they'd like you to not be sharing your talents in the world. I did a video the other day that you may not see, and I'll have my daughter put it out on YouTube, and it was a completely gray video. I was actually in a garbage bag. And I was up against the wall in my garage in Florida because it was white. And I did this trying to talk monotone. Can you imagine me being monotone and not really having any passion about myself and just trying to talk about the world has become so unsafe. Like all we can really do is hide now. Like all you can really do is try to run under the radar and not be noticed, right? And like, don't let anybody call attention to you and just try to, and believe me, I have that experience. So I've had to do that in other parts of my life in the past. I used to teach that in my high school classroom. I have written about that in one of my books. Can you imagine if society, because if we're going to give into this hater culture and not be grounded in ourselves instead, we would have to go to this. Somebody made the comment of it looks like the insane asylum. It really does. If we're going to go to this, like, I don't want you to see my physical appearance in any regard, whether that is shape, ethnicity, any of these pieces. I don't want you to see my personality. I can't let you see my talents. I can't let my talents out because safest is like just this flat production worker and like you know nothing about me, period. If everybody in the entire 7 billion plus people did that in the world, can you imagine? Like, that's what I wanted to point out to people. Hello, like we cannot do this. That's some of the stuff that is super important of us catching on to. You maybe never thought about it as a success tool, is learning to be grounded. And it does not mean, it can mean, but it does not mean I had to light a candle and sit and om about it. I'm going to teach you some business function. I'm going to teach you some success function of how to do that because we need it in mainstream. So I'm going to check the chat quick because I see some people over here, and then I'll move into, I basically have 3 points for you today. All right. So I'm just going to check everybody in the chat. Sorry, that got a little loud. Hey, Jonathan, how are you? Thank you so much for coming on, and I appreciate that. Ooh, he's got a comment there. I'll wait till it shows up into the feed. That is very interesting. Reed, thank you so much for showing up. Yeah, so Mike, he goes by Michael on here, but Mike is his name. Powerful message and reminder. So I actually know Mike personally. I appreciate that very much because it's super powerful. And Travis, thank you so much. Like, you know, like, listen, here's Travis. Like Travis is also just huge social media, right? And we both are broadcasters. He does a massive social media thing. He does a very different style. He knows I stay within my own. He can appreciate, and I appreciate him showing up and popping in here for me all the time, that it's tough on social media as a woman, severely tough. Let me tell you. I will talk about that a little bit coming into here. But every single time I think about quitting, someone like Travis or my really good friends or somebody in my personal life will say to me, you know what, Sherry, you can't quit. Because if you quit as a strong leader, I always say woman, but people will say to me, no, leader. Because, right, I teach a lot of men. I have a lot of male following. If you quit, we're done getting all the lessons, right? And so we can't. So I'm going to pop out of here and back into a most important, the second point I want to make today. And so that's how to teach grounding and being grounded. And I don't care who you are. So let me demonstrate something to you. We have had a society, right, that was very taught about what you have. Right? So if you have money and status and things and whatever, you're celebrity, you're fabulous, and you really are amazing. The rest of us suck. That has fallen down. I can guarantee you I have worked for certain multimillionaires since 2009 in private contract for certain things that I do. And some of them are the most miserable personal people that I know. So that's not right. However, here's the thing for them, because I care about all people, right? Here's the thing for them. They need to get super grounded in themselves of who they are as a human being. Just like that person next door to me might, right? Or just like that little child who has had a rough environment because they ended up in a tough parenting situation. That's part of the deal. And so this how to teach grounding is not, this is the thing. I have never been able to comprehend, and I will just say it publicly, I have never been able to comprehend this whole culture of just F it, like F you, right? There's so many books that came out a couple of years ago about, the F it culture and whatever else. Like I tried to read one or two, right? Like I tried, because you know me, like, right, I care a ton. My heart is way too big sometimes. And so I'm trying to read this. It's just not who I am. The other one that is tough for me, and I'm going to demonstrate something with you. The other one that's tough for me is, my hair's a disaster, how funny, is the underestimate me, that'll be fun. Like I've never understood that. And I realize some people, it's passion and fire that they're geared to that. It is not who I am. So the part that is not accurate in this ethic culture, in teaching you that's a way to be grounded, it's not. Because guess what? The people that would buy that book to try it are the people who I do care. I can't not care. I don't know how to not care, because that is who I am as a human being. And sometimes in spite of what you've done to me, like that's big fault of mine and big blessing of mine, right? And so to teach people things about being grounded that are not healthy is not good for the individual. What we need to be able to do is to get grounded in, this is who I am. And as I'm going out in the world, again, that is just who you are. And I'm going to teach you a couple different things. So some of it, right, is I will hear from people all day long where they'll go, Sherry, but I don't feel super grounded in myself because I don't really feel comfortable with this piece of myself or whatever. Hello, every one of us is flawsome. I am so flawsome. And it's the first thing I want you to know about me. I am so flawsome. Don't ever call me perfect. Don't ever call me ideal. I am so flawsome, just like everybody else. And part of getting grounded is exactly that. Part of getting grounded and learning grounding techniques is we're going to make mistakes as businesses. We're going to do faux pas that we go, oh my Lord, why did I just say that? Or why did I just do that? Right? It's going to happen. Here's the difference. A way you can also get grounded in yourself is by being accountable. When you are accountable to yourself, because again, everything I'm going to teach you today is about flipping it right in here, and you managing yourself is about being accountable, right? If I'm accountable to myself, I don't get to let you direct and drive how I feel about myself as a human being. You don't get to direct and drive how I feel. Not even if I had a significant partner. They don't get to direct and drive how I feel about myself. That's how they feel about me. Right? It doesn't mean that I don't have improvement to do and I shouldn't, work with them and all. I don't mean that, but I just mean in the core of yourself. The grounding part is also learning to hold your own intentions in a day, right? So what's happened to us is that we've become such a flapping flag in the wind. Watch that illustration. If you are grounded, you are not a flapping flag in the wind, depending on what's going on, right? You are centered. Why you need to be centered, and again, I don't care who you are, how old you are, what's the deal, is that we are safe, secure, strong, happy, and most free when we are grounded in ourselves and who we are. That's the deal. So the other day I told you I accidentally had this thing that went viral that I did not want to go viral. Really, I don't need it to at all, because mine is more about I want to make a difference, and I am not one, nor I have ever been, as you watch my stuff, where I want this massive platform. I actually have kept it incredibly private because of a lot of junk. And again, I only need to make a difference in the world, and I understand I'm making it less. And I need to do my great work with my clients. That's it, right? And so the other day, accidentally, whoopsie poopsie, right? Whoopsie poops, that's an old thing from, I don't know, Wisconsin. Whoopsie poopsie, it went viral, and like right now it's at like 187,000 views or something like that. And I got the most body shaming comments I've ever gotten in my entire career, right? And again, I want to point out too, it's not just social media, it is society who's behaving that way. And a massive chunk of those were private accounts. I'm not new to people making private accounts to troll me. And I know in Wisconsin, 2 of them that do it all the time, right? However, the job is those people can't shut you down. So my first reaction to it in me practicing and learning to be grounded, right, was I laughed really hard because the comments were so completely stupid. Here's the part of a little bit of joy in when you can learn to be so grounded that is actually incredibly humorous as you watch the stupid digital tattoos other people are putting out there. Because watch, here's the intelligence if you don't get it. Whatever you say, both in a DM and on the front side, whatever you say at work, whatever you say at the grocery store, is really a digital tattoo of you. It is not about me. That's you. And I always say on social media, thank you for letting everybody see who you are, right? Like that's why it is a digital tattoo. Hello. And so you just showed who you are. I'm going to show an example of being grounded. For the most part on social media in particular, I think it is best to not even try to comment because you cannot teach them anything. Like if somebody is an asshole, somebody's a hater, you can't teach them anything and they don't want to learn. And I can tell you that off screen as well with abusers and bulliers, period. They don't want to learn and you cannot teach them almost always. And the statistics are 1% will change and learn. Did you hear me? 1% of bullies and abusers will want to teach and learn and are able to. Big red flag in staying grounded. Don't try to teach them. You can't teach them almost nothing. Okay. And so for the most part, I choose not to publicly do it anymore. I do an opposite, right? And you see me do that. Every once in a while, I'll put out just I jokingly call it a PSA where I'll go da-da-da-da because something happened on the backside or I learned something, right? But it is amazing to me how grounded I have to be in everything I do. Used to certainly be as a mother, used to certainly be as a female who has been sexually harassed every single day since 12 years old. Every day since 12 years old. Bullied because of the work I do, right? And so I'll give you just a current example. And normally I don't do it on the front side, but every once in a while, barefoot to boots to heels, you need to say something and you need to make a demonstration, right? And so in being grounded, somebody yesterday, if you watch, because I ever say the word Naples, Florida, that word is severely triggering in stereotypes to people. And this is what happens. And it's why, in the beginning, I was like, oh, do I feel comfortable? Do I not feel comfortable? However, I'm a massive defender for wherever I am, wherever my people are, whatever my advocacies are, human beings, all of that. And so somebody on my page, and I will just straight up say his name, and I don't normally do this. So Dan Black is a very mature, I don't mean mature as in he is mature. I mean his age is mature. And I wouldn't normally even say that, right? Is an educator. And a year ago, he used to message me all the time and say, gosh, you're the greatest parent. Love you, because I was Wisconsin, right? I'm still Wisconsin. And you were such a smart educator. Now, blah, 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 blah. And he talked to me about the 1900s and I'd be polite. I haven't talked to him for a year. And all of a sudden yesterday, when I made a comment, I made the zoo about Naples. He sent a note to me on the front side and said, everybody in Naples, tons of money in Naples, banks on every corner. Watch me point this out to you. And I'm only doing this because he's an educator, right? And he did this. I didn't do this. He's an educator. And so why would you make that comment? I'm going to tell you the backside of this, straight up front on the first side. The biggest thing they shame women about in Naples or coming to Naples or particularly coming to Naples to work is, oh, you're here for the money. It's the biggest thing that people get shamed about in Naples. If you are not like a natural person who's of the income of the things. And let me tell you something, the thing that makes me also angry is there's such a huge working population in Naples. I cannot tell you. There's also affordable pricing in Naples. And so I'm going to be defensive wherever I work and live, right? Always, whether it's Wisconsin or here, whatever. So anyway, I'm used to that. And I'm very used to everybody treating women like pretty women down here. Like it's just crap, right? And it's not accurate. It's not even how I got down here, any of it, right? But so this guy says that is him, right? And I say to him, I support all people. And in fact, Naples has a large population of working people. Most people don't understand that. And he says back to me, you can go look at the post because I don't know the exact, essentially, Florida's full of old people waiting to die. That's God's plan. The only reason I demonstrate this right now is it's super easy to see the projection, right? Super easy to see the projection. That has not one thing to do with me, the nice human who's just trying to promote the zoo in Naples because it's fun, right? In Southwest Florida and whatever. And so then I wouldn't normally say this, but then, so I have a snappy side, believe me, and I have a lawyer mouth if I need one, and I can be incredibly smart. And I decide, you know what? Because he did that second thing, I made a comment and said on the public side, because you are an educator and I am an educator, and you used to always direct message me about what a great mom I am, what a great educator I am, and you made the comments about Naples and old people and money and all of this. I'm 53 in Naples. How old are you, Dan Black? Touche. Now, I would not normally do that. However, every once in a while, I'm going to do that. He put himself in the position. He's in way over 70s. I don't even know how old he is, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly great. And my whole point about the zoo is everybody thinks that about Florida. There's a lot of fun going on here. You can say whatever you want to say. I don't really care. But again, my point is about being able to stay grounded. I could intelligently see in 2 seconds. And again, it doesn't have to be social media. So this stuff happens in real life all the time. I am very carefully going to use my intelligence to stay grounded every once in a while. And I'm going to instantly go, and you don't need to have your energy on me. You don't get to have your energy on me. I don't need to keep talking about it, right? I'm just using it in a teacher example here. So part of learning to be grounded is to constantly teach ourselves and whomever we are working with to redirect the neural pathway training we have when somebody comes at us in any form, to go pattern interrupt. What's really happening here? Because we've also become a nanosecond culture, right? We respond in 2 seconds. I have a whole nother real conversations with Sherry St. Marie out there about that. We have to slow it down in the staying grounded, in the learning to be comfortable and those sort of things. I am one in me staying grounded. You may not be in my life or around my life if you are not supportive and loving and kind to me, period. I think that's a good policy for anybody. I've been this way since I used to teach high school marketing in Wanakee, Green Bay, and Middleton. You kicked out of class if you were disrupting. That's just how it is. You don't, again, have a right to not let people learn. So you're kicked out. Haters make a comment, it's just deleted. So this was my point the other day. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time because you're just deleted and blocked. That's all that's going to happen. So up to you if you want to waste your time doing It's not going to stay out anywhere. It's not going anywhere. I don't have to put up with you. In fact, I turned my comments off on one platform for a while. We don't have to do that. And so the part of staying grounded when we know we are really comfortable there is that we don't do this all day. We're able to do this. And it doesn't mean we don't get a little annoyed here and there and whatever, but the blips are much tinier, right? So it might be like something that just starts to get you like this, but you go, oh, right? This is the way that we can learn how to be, and it is incredibly healthier. People have different techniques about how to be grounded. Some people need to talk it through. Some people don't like talking and they need to go do something physical to work it through. You have a responsibility to learn how to do that. What is your thing? How do you do stuff like that? Do you need to be quiet and by yourself? Do you need music? Do you need to sit down and write something about it or to yourself? We have lots of different techniques that will work for us, but this just needs to be mainstream. Now, again, not to hold on to ourselves in a defensive state, to hold on to ourselves in an incredibly beautiful, solid state. right? And the bigger the threat you have, people will say, the bigger the target you are, right? That's disgusting. I'm going to say something else about learning how to be grounded as I move into the last section for today. And I guess I will check the chats in between here like a decent teacher and just see if there's anything else I need to say. Yeah. So Jonathan's just making a comment about, how critical people have become. And so here's the piece. Like, I'm all about, really, I would love kindness and love. And I wish the world was all like that, right? I believe it can be. We just have taught ourselves and become a place where we don't do that. But I do think that's possible. And so I'm going to move into the last piece for you. This is why I care. So again, first of all, it's that awareness of flipping from trying to change society. Like, we can still keep trying to do that, but really the greater gravity is to go to the individual. That's really what I do. I'm always working on the individual, not mass. Second is, of course, learning some techniques to be grounded in yourself. And the grounding techniques are also perspective. Did you watch that when I'm intelligently explaining this to you? It's about your own perspective about what is going on, right? And here's the excitement, and here's why I care, and here's what I get is sometimes flipping hard. Let me understand, I want you to understand I get it. So the bigger thing that we care about in being grounded is the success tool, is that if you are not able to fully be yourself, whatever form and shade and volume and stuff that is, you will never get the chance. You will never get the chance. And so I have so many people who are with me. I don't like following, but follow me. And they'll say to me, oh my God, Sherry, like, you just are so comfortable being yourself and whatever. Let me tell you something. The majority of my life, I was not. This is my natural personality. As a little kid, I was like this, right? And then I went through tons of decades of control and people not wanting me to be and toning me down, whether they were male or female. So I get it from females too, where they're like, sure, you can't be so friendly. You can't be so outgoing. You can't use your body to teach, because I'm visceral, right? So I use everything. I use my intelligence. I use language. I use all of it. And I like humor, right? So a lot of it is body humor, right? Of just me making movements or things like that in teaching humor and marketing, whatever. And people will say to me, you can't do that. Watch an old teaching and blame. I'm explaining this to you right now. People will say to me, and they have my whole life, you can't, this isn't my words, it's theirs. You can't be an attractive woman and put stuff out there like that. That's just what you're going to get. Did you just see that old school? I want you to understand this, because across the board, this example can be used anywhere. You can't put it out there as the way you are, like, because it's your fault. This is what we do. This is old school. And people even do it in their 20s, but this is old school. The person who cannot handle the teacher or the marketer or the whatever, they're the problem, right? Watch this. Because I'm intelligent, because I am creative, because I have a way to, I have been a street smart teacher and watch the styles I all use, right? Because I can get your attention. I can make you learn. I can make you think about something if you choose. I'm not going to choose to sit here with a book and tell you, okay? But we are putting the wrong blame in society in the wrong place, when it really is accountability is the number one issue. Accountability for both everybody in society and also the individual doing whatever they are doing in life. So why people aren't as comfortable being themselves is this whole sad thing in society that we unfortunately very much condition each other, even in our private relationships and everything, to control people. To control people. The reason for the control is lots of different ways, right? Sometimes it's, I don't want to lose you, so I have to control you and water you down. Sometimes the control is, I'm afraid you're going to get hurt out there, but what that really means is, I don't want to get hurt out there, so you can't be out there. Out there meaning whatever it is, right? I want you to fully understand. I have so many people of all ages, industries, kinds, success and challenge and all of that messaging me going, gosh, I wish I could be yourself. If nothing else, you keep doing, Sherry, keep fully expressing the wide range of yourself, because it makes me want to do whatever it is for myself. And again, I do not mean you have to be this charismatic person. I mean, be yourself. That is why I care a lot. Here's why I care a lot about that. First of all, I care about it for you, the human being. Every soul has a right to enjoy themselves in their life while they're here. This is it. This is the last chance. This is the one time, right? That's always me. And then the secondary reason is because we, the world, lose every piece of talent, every piece of joy, every piece of learning, every piece of love, every piece of kindness, if you won't do it. If I won't do it, we lose. That's why I feel incredibly passionate about that. We have such prevention of joy by people not being able to be who they are. And I will say on this one, who you are can change over time. So many people were falsely taught, well, that's just who you are. You're a shy person. You may be, and that's fabulous. And if you're shy your whole life, fabulous and great. I totally honor and respect that. But you could have been shy as a child, and you maybe aren't now. Or you maybe weren't shy as a child, and now you feel more comfortable shy now. You might have been an extrovert, and you are now more comfortable an introvert, or the other way around. That is totally fine. You might have been wild and crazy, and now you realize, boy, did you ruin your life, and you would like to not do that. That is okay. So this whole thing of you honoring and respecting who you really are at this stage and this place in your life with what you want to do with it, as long as you are not hurting others. That's me. And the people in your life may change. There may be people in your life who don't like it. That is not your job, not your concern. Now, I don't mean to be completely rude, particularly if you have legal and financial things with, somebody else, that whatever. I'm not saying, be a jackwagon and not care, but you see what I'm saying? Friends change over time. We used to think that was so horrendous. There are seasons for things. There are seasons for things. And it doesn't mean I have to obliterate you and you are horrid. It means thank you very much for the loving and the care and the teaching and everything. And it is best now that we transition. That can happen, in that I maybe need to be a different person right now. And that doesn't mean you are bad, but it means I got to go. I got to go be who I'm going to be, right? It also can be who you are being is not okay for me. And it just means I need to go, right? And it means, what if you were fully more yourself and your business because of it was absolutely amazing, right? It's me in Florida. I am very different than other realtors working down here. I am very different than other property managers in new construction. I am very different as a consultant. And if I'm going to acclimate to what's happening down here, I miss the sweet spot. If I am not going to be myself, and I'll give you another concrete example, just so that all of it's not personal, right? I have experience in the real estate industry. I have experience in the Airbnb industry. I have experience in all of real estate, meaning residents need to quietly enjoy their property. People have a right to evolve. There are people who do not want that happening. I agree totally. The regulations need to be balanced. They need to not be all the way this way or all the way that way. And everybody has a responsibility to be accountable. I am being asked to step up and participate in some things, both in city government, in permits, in Airbnbs, in tourism, okay? If I am afraid to tell, and these are some really big hitters, if I am afraid to say what I really know and what I really think and balance the benefit and the good and say what needs to happen because I see the whole, I'm not helping anybody. I'm not helping my business. I'm not helping myself. And I am shying down and quieting up and taking away my talent because I'm afraid to share. We can't do that. We all have a responsibility while we're here. And I don't mean you have to go do huge things. You can have quiet enjoyment and do whatever you want to do. So I'm just showing examples of lots of different ways. If we will not be ourselves, why it matters, why I want to hit the passion point for you. And we can all be growing on this again, right? So when we're new into it, we're going to be shaky. We're going to be a little bit nervous. Sometimes we're going to react not so fabulous. Other times we're going to come back really strong. Other times we're going to cry. Other times we're going to gather around our people, right? Hopefully lots of times to go, oh my God, help me do this thing. Others are really fabulous at it, but I want every single person to catch on to educators, every role you have, every work, all of society. We all need to catch on to this thing about being grounded in success tools from a healthy business perspective and personal development regards and quality of life, because we all lose with ourselves, with our talent, and with our world if we don't do it. So I hope you replay this as many times as you need to. I'm going to check the chat one more time. You can always find me most active on LinkedIn. I'm also, my curriculum things go out to YouTube. I'm on TikTok, of course, but I really just feed it through to LinkedIn, teeny bit on Instagram, and business Facebook. That's about it. So I'm going to check this one more time on the chat. Adolfo, thank you so much for saying hi. And Jonathan, thank you for saying you love the topic. This is it. I hear from a lot of people, I got interesting different topics, right? It's because I look at life differently. I've had a whole different road of lots of different things. Again, I use my street smart intelligence in a little bit different shade and all of that. But again, the main reason I do everything I do, I'm talking to myself. If you don't know that, I'm also hugely talking to you to try to, if you want, inspire you in your life, make you think, make you make some choices for yourself. And I'm going to check Mike one more time because I see him just coming back in here. That is the point. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm trying to get you a little bit of passion, help you see a few things going on, because I have a wide swing in the world, right, of lots of things that I experience and do. And again, it's just so incredibly important for us. Ooh, Mike's a very intelligent guy. And he has quite an experience, and I thank him very much for his military service. And so he said, I made him think. I will tell you, not meaning to be so egoic, that is one of my favorite things, is if I can make somebody think in their own life. And so I hugely appreciate all of you, whether we go up or down or have some, trauma or back up with the stuff or piss and fire or whatever we got to do in the range. Again, this is super important, and I highly encourage every single one of you. Thank you so much for showing up live. Thank you so much for the recording. We are not going to let the lights go out in the world. That's the thing. If the lights go out, we're all in a lot of trouble. That's what's super important, and I'm not going to quit. Have an awesome day.